A keen gardener, who often used his hobby to escape from the sharp tongue of his domineering wife, it was only natural that when Armstrong finally decided that he couldn't take any more, he turned to a remedy he'd found effective in his beloved garden: weed killer. The marriage of solicitor Herbert Armstrong and his wife Catherine was never a particularly happy one. Although the couple had 3 children together, she was a truant. Armstrong was forbidden to drink or smoke, 2 pleasures that he much enjoyed, while Catherine often took her own pleasure in humiliating him in front of friends. Like many men who find they have married a domineering nag, he found refuge in the garden, where he could avoid Catherine's sneering. He was never able to avoid her completely, though, and over the years his anger. At the age of 53, Armstrong finally decided that enough was enough. His wife had to die. First, he made sure that a new will was drawn up for her, under which he was the sole beneficiary, and then he replenished his stock of weed killer. After all, it had rid his garden of unwanted pests, so why not other areas of his life too? In August 1920, Catherine Armstrong's physical and mental health collapsed to such an extent that she was admitted to the Barnwood Asylum in nearby Gloucestershire. By January 1921, she was well enough to be discharged and returned home to the care of her husband on the 22nd. And take care of her he did, again with doses of arsenic-based weed killer. A month later, Catherine was dead. The local doctor, Thomas Hinks, certified that the cause of her death was heart disease. She was buried with due ceremony. Armstrong was now free to get on with his life in peace and presumably take up drinking and smoking once more. But having gotten away with murder so easily, he was tempted to turn to weed killer again. This time it wasn't a wife who needed to be removed, but a business acquaintance with whom he had fallen out, Mr. Oswald Martin. Armstrong bought a box of chocolates, made a small hole in the bottom of each and carefully inserted his poison. Then he had the box delivered anonymously to Martin's house. A delighted Mrs. Martin ate some, and the box was also produced at a dinner party. Martin escaped with his life, but one of the guests quickly became ill, and suspicion fell on the chocolates. The small holes in the base of each soon discovered, as was the arsenic they contained. Armstrong wasn't going to give up easily, though. On October the 26th, 1921, he invited Martin to visit his house for afternoon tea, during which he passed his guest to scorn, apologizing for using his fingers. Later that evening, Martin became ill. Dr. Thomas Hinks, who had also treated the unfortunate Catherine Armstrong, was called in and faced with many of the same symptoms from that case. He became suspicious. A urine sample was sent to the Clinical Research Association for analysis and revealed the presence of arsenic in Martin's system. The police were called in, and after making discreet investigations, they exhumed Catherine's body. It too contained arsenic. On January the 19th, 1922, Armstrong was arrested and charged with the murder of his wife. His trial began on April the 3rd, 1922. Armstrong represented himself skillfully, arguing that his wife had taken the poison herself, either in an attempt to relieve her illness or in a suicide attempt, but it wasn't enough. The Martin poisoning was used as evidence, as was the fact that when Armstrong was arrested, he was carrying a small bag of the poison. Herbert Armstrong was found guilty of the murder of his wife and sentenced to hanging. After a failed appeal, he was executed on May the 31st, 1922.